What a rebound by the 76ers as they come back tonight, defeating the Toronto Raptors. Final score, 130-120. They improve on the season now to 6-3, front end of a back-to-back with Detroit waiting for them tomorrow night. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers postgame show, presented by Bet365. Bet365, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Make sure you go sign up to become a member with us. And we are broadcasting live from the Xfinity studio. Rich, I'm Devon Breeze, the president of basketball operations. Can't wait to hear from all of you in the chat. We will connect with Kyle Neubeck live from the arena as we get later in the show and they finish up with the press conferences and all. We have the player of the game. We have our lob tracker that we've been keeping track of through the first 9 games. Had a really fun one tonight. So much to get into tonight, but with Rich, we got to go immediately to the main thing.
Devon, do you think the Sixers are going to pick up that $2.8 million team option on Trendon Watford next year?
Well, only 9 games in, but I would say yes.
Man, he was pretty darn good tonight.
Yes, he was.
They put him in the starting lineup, and, you know, I would say, like...
Good call.
Obviously, the triple-double and the stats, like, just completely jump off the page. But the other thing I would say is just that he is an extremely fun basketball player to watch. Like, a big reason that this team struggled last year was that they did not have enough reliable decision makers on the floor. And here they get this guy, really their main free agent signing to the roster, a
100%.
a $2+ million player on the first night of free agency, getting Trendon Watford in here. And we knew with the Nets, lower stakes basketball, we knew he was pretty comfortable with the ball in his hands, but he gets the start tonight. And I mean, I'm just going to start with his numbers. We're going to get into the weeds on sort of all the stuff that he did.
Well, throw it. It's player of the game as well. He
Player
is the player of the game. So we'll just put that right out there to let everybody know that he is the player of the game. 20 points, 17 boards, a career high, 10 assists, 1 block. I think he had 1 turnover, and that didn't come until late in the fourth quarter.
Very end. Yeah.
Very end. So I'm sorry, but just to get that one in there as you present the whole thing with Trendon Watford.
Trendon Watford is, I mean, I thought he was awesome tonight, and there are so many elements of it. I mean, I think he scored 7 points right away. You knew with inserting him into the lineup, like I feel like Nick Nurse felt pretty good about that right away. But Devon, the thing that we knew Trendon Watford could do was play make. We thought, get the ball in his hands. But the question was, on a team with Paul George at some point, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Quentin Grimes, all of these guys, how would that fit in? And I think what you're learning here is you can never have enough playmaking on a team. You can never have enough guys who can handle the ball, make good decisions, get all the way to the rim. And he was spectacular tonight. And we have some plays coming up with Bree. I thought the thing that was really cool about tonight's game, man, him and his old buddy, Tyrese Maxey, they have a connection on the 2-man game. They've been playing like 6 games together, 5 games together, whatever it is. It feels like they've been playing together for years. And maybe they have to an extent, but they certainly have not been playing at the NBA level. And they just did so many super advanced things with the basketball tonight. Watford feeding Maxey, Maxey feeding Watford, Watford using Maxey's gravity for buckets, Watford using Maxey's gravity for buckets, and then finding shooters like Quentin Grimes in the corner. I just thought it was so much fun to watch. And if it's this good already, I think there's a chance that down the line, it's going to be even better. Great game by him. What stood out to you the most about Watford?
Yeah, so the thing that right away was you could see that, okay, you kind of understood what they were thinking with it. In the pregame, we talked about, Rich, right? Is this the right call for the start? It has been Jabari Walker. Jabari Walker has been so up and down. This makes sense. And prior to us not knowing that Jared McCain wasn't going to play tonight, you looked at it where you had 2 ball handlers coming off the bench, one in which was going to be replacing, and Jared McCain replacing Trendon Watford, who's coming off the bench with the ball handling to help out overall. But you could see that he had it going early, not just with the scoring, but his typical, he's a pass-first kind of guy. looking for his teammates. And when they needed it most, because they got down once again in that first quarter, they rebounded. They got I believe it was a 10-0 run to come back after the hot start by Emmanuel Quickley and the Toronto Raptors. They had a 10-0 run and got right back in it. But they needed him to do that. They needed him to also keep pace a little bit in that first quarter, even as the Raptors regained the lead and had the lead going into the second quarter. You could just see that he had his foot on the pedal the entire time. And I think with me, as you ask Rich and I say this is the most comfortable he has looked. He's had one game against Brooklyn, his former team, where he looked really good. And he's had some other outings, some other stretches where he looked solid out there on the floor, including against Cleveland, which you mentioned in the pregame. He had some spots there like everyone did in the first half against Chicago when they were running them out of the gym until they didn't. He looked more comfortable in this game, I believe game 5 for him, game 6.
But his first game was Washington, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so that was game number 4.
Whatever, 5 or 6, one of the two.
So, but with it, it's just basically he looks way more comfortable out there now. And playing out there with the starting unit, I don't know if that had made a difference or it's just simply we said it. He has to get his legs underneath him. He seems like his legs have now caught up. The hamstring isn't a problem. The feel, when you have an old man game like his is, all you need to do is just have people constantly moving and making themselves available because of the pass first mentality that he has. Can he score? Sure. But he's also this unselfish 6'8", 6'9" guy that wants to get everyone else involved. So my overarching thing is he just looks more comfortable out there with 9 games into this, whether he was playing in 5 or 6 of those, but also watching, because a player like that, that's just an IQ guy. And he's an IQ guy that understands the game. And we question when he was signed, not that he wasn't good, we question could he do this on a playoff level team when games matter. Now, while we're only 9 games in, again, it matters because they needed to stop that skid that they just had of the 2-game losing streak.
Totally.
And then the way that Toronto came out and played, you needed everything that he brought to the table. And when you also have the gravity of being with these other guys, with Tyrese Maxey doing what he's doing, VJ Edgecombe, even though he didn't have it going, you saw some things in the second half where he was cutting and moving and he was looking for him. You saw some of the other guys that he was connecting with, Trendon Watford, because of his passing ability, his vision that he has out there on the floor, to find those teammates and understand, again, when you have an IQ like that, you don't have to have an athleticism to be effective. You just have to have the smarts. So if they keep moving and things break down a bit, if the offense gets a little bit out of whack and you're about 10 seconds and the offense breaks off and you need to kind of ad-lib things, that's the type of player that you need out there. And we look at that and we wait for Paul George to return to the team and see what he looks like in the midst of all of this. And you have now, Rich, 2 guys who can allow, when McCain is playing, Grimes and Maxey and Edgecombe, to all play off the ball, to be those downhill dynamic type of scorers that we believe they could be within that flow of the 4 guards, playing off of them. So his comfortability, the trust now that he just simply has with his teammates because he knows them a little bit better. And I think that also spearheads, when you play like that offensively, it helps out with your defense and how it all comes together, because he made some tremendous defensive plays with, again, not the athleticism, just the smarts and the timing of getting his hand in there, when the reach out for the block shot as well. And he has some timely defensive possessions there, and his passing was just amazing. And the fact that he got on the glass, Joel Embiid finished tonight with, I believe, 6 rebounds in total. He had 5 offensive rebounds Watford did all by himself. You needed help on the glass. Oubre has been helping out quite a bit. Andre Drummond is coming off the bench and doing so. VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey have done the same thing, including Quentin Grimes. When Joel Embiid is not able to rebound and Bona can't stay on the floor, Paul George, Barlow not back yet, you need help in all facets of the game, including on the glass. And he stuck his nose in there and he got in there. And this is just the feel for the basketball. He has a nose for the rock, because he's not skying over people like we saw VJ Edgecombe get some really good rebounds at the end.
On those jumps.
He has really good timing, really good touch on it, where sometimes he is tipping the basketball to himself. Other times he's squeezing the pill to make sure that he's got it, nobody else does. And even when it's a one-handed rebound, the thing that we've discussed when the signing happened was, this is another player who can start the break off of a rebound and go. whether he's pushing it across half court or just advancing the basketball up to give them an opportunity because of, again, his IQ to push it ahead to one of the guards, to get the fast break going. He was phenomenal tonight, Trendon Watford. Easily his best game tonight. I was just getting a text from somebody, and they were asking, has he been this aggressive? I said, no. This was tonight was the unleashing of the aggressive version of what you just saw.
He had that good game against Brooklyn, and I would say in a lot of the other games we saw flashes. But the ability to score, the passing that he did, this is, Bree has it up now. These are the 3 ways that they got him and Maxey involved. The first one, he's just bringing the ball up, and Maxey and him are crossing paths at the top of the key. And Watford here, he drives left here. Later in the game, Maxey actually did the same play, but Maxey pitched it to him, and Watford drove right for a bucket. So that's one way. That's something that Maxey and Joel Embiid did together. Now, there are other ways that he can get involved with as well, where they ran a play 3 times in a row where Watford was screening as the double drag guy. And Bree, this is the second video. Where he's the second guy in the double drag here, and then they just get it back to Watford at the top of the key so he can run that dribble handoff with Maxey on the right side. They scored 3 different ways, but this is my favorite one. Draw the defense, kick it to Quentin Grimes, bucket. But the other 2 times Maxey got buckets on it, and you know what this play reminds me of, man? It reminds me of what Joel Embiid used to do with JJ Redick, but this is on the other side of the floor, and this is Trendon Watford and Tyrese Maxey. I just thought he had some great kicks to the corner, man. He just gets into the teeth of the defense. Big guy, can spray it out to shooters. So an awesome job in the 2-man game there as well. And then there's one more, and I've seen people bring this up in the chat already. The third one, Bree, the third and final one. This is where he got fancy. This is where he channels Joel Embiid with the nutmeg between the legs pass. After it's over, he's laughing with Joel Embiid. Did he get away with a little bit of a moving screen there?
Elbow,
maybe. But you know what? They didn't call it, and it was an awesome pass. Maxey actually kind of slipped on that 3-point shot, but he made it. That was awesome, man. Like, just to see that level of chemistry between those guys already, you can see how much fun. These guys are legitimately really close, him and Tyrese Maxey. They've spent a lot of time together. You could see when Maxey was scoring, Watford was fired up. When Watford was scoring, Maxey was fired up. And then he throws this pass, and he has a really good laugh. Joel, who played really well tonight, by the way, absolutely loved this on the bench and was like, hey, man, that's my move. I've been doing that the last 3 years with Tyrese.
I said it to you immediately, right? I'm like, Rich, he stole it. He stole it, but it worked, and it was effective. It was his kind of night. That was the kind of night that you wanted to see from that guy. And again, you brought it up. This was your prize free agent pickup. Well, you know, when you do what you did last summer, and then you make the trade for Quentin Grimes at the trade deadline, that was essentially also your free agent pickup, the Quentin Grimes addition. But when you have this as another piece that you can just, Tyrese talked about it. Something that we didn't have last season is how he quoted it when we were in Las Vegas, and he talked about something that he said to us when we were sitting with him at both of them said that when we were sitting with them on media day, Maxey simply pointed out we didn't have this kind of player last season. And I argued just a little bit because I think a healthy Paul George is a similar, a souped up version, but the skill set, the IQ, the type of player that we're talking about, when it works like this is fun. When you saw it in Brooklyn, it was fun. When you saw it in that first half against Chicago, when they were running the score up on them, it was fun. Tonight, you see it again, and this time in the starting role. Imagine that coming off the bench for them with that second unit of he, McCain, and Grimes mixed in, intertwined with sometimes Joel's not playing or Joel has to go to the bench. Barlow is healthy. You can go with that small ball 5, if you will, and have Barlow maybe playing a little bit of that 5, and you can go get a little tricky with the lineup. But when you have guys that are just simply crashing the glass together, it's a collective team rebounding kind of effort, you can live and you can survive with that type of lineup out there. And when you know you have someone like that is going to pass the basketball, everybody's going to want to move because you know that, yes, he can put up 20. May not do. That's not him. He's not going to put up 20 every night. But what he is going to do is he's going to look for you every night. And it just may happen that sometimes in every 10th game, he might go off in the scoring role, but he's going to have those 5, 6, 7. And tonight he had 10 assists for the Sixers.
Part of the reason he's going to have all of these assists too, and we'll probably get to him more in the next segment. Tyrese Maxey, the way he's being guarded, this is like Steph Curry stuff, guys. Like, he is being overplayed by so many teams. And Watford, he hit Maxey at least 3 times on backdoor cuts tonight. Embiid hit him a couple
Twice
times on backdoor cuts.
Yeah.
Some awesome passing sequences with Watford. There was one in the 3rd or 4th quarter where Watford threw it to Embiid at the free throw line, and just a beautiful tic-tac-toe passing sequence for a Maxey backdoor cut. There was another great backdoor cut where Colin Murray-Boyles makes the block, and that kid's a heck of a defender.
Kyle's going to be chirping about that.
He was probably cheering on press row. But yeah, so Watford, we know the passing is great and it's fun, but I think you hammered this point home as well. It wasn't just the passing from him tonight. I was so impressed with the defense. I mean, he had 17 rebounds, man. Like, he does not strike me as a guy. He's a decent rebounder, but he does not strike me as a guy that is going to get 17 rebounds. But he was all over the place tonight. He had a key block as well. He just had some very timely plays that had nothing to do with his feel, and that was awesome. And the other thing I thought he did as well, like, yeah, he's great when the offense is humming and he's finding backdoor cuts, and he did all of those things tonight. There were 2 or 3 times tonight, though, where the offense bogged down and he had to do something, whether it was shoot a 3. There was one late in the 4th quarter. He drove and got the foul on Scotty Barnes. Like, when the offense broke down, he made big plays sort of out of nothing tonight. Was very impressed by that. One other thing that has struck me too, he's very good going to his left hand.
Yes, he is.
Like, they want him on the left side, on the right side, so he can attack with the left and Maxey going the other way. On those 2-man games at the top of the key. But he had some awesome drives tonight where he got to his left, but then he brought it back to his right for the finish. Yeah, really impressive stuff. Fun player. And again, like, for a $2 million signing in the offseason, I know he was signed on the first night. I know the Sixers clearly targeted him and liked him. It's an excellent start for him. Because,
great recruitment by Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah, exactly, right? and hopefully he's going to take advantage of this opportunity, and he's going to get paid 2 years from now because the Sixers have a team option on him. But, like, look, I've been watching this guy. I said it the other night against Cleveland too, even as they were getting their butts kicked against Cleveland. It's like, this guy does a lot of good stuff on the court, and it just was a matter of time until he put it together for a full game. They stick him in the starting lineup, and he responds right away with that awesome game. So great stuff from Trendon Watford, a very deserving player of the game tonight.
No question about it. Trendon Watford, our player of the game. Also on the night, as Rich just laid out everything with the player of the game numbers, he also 8 for 10 from the floor. 1 for 2 from the three-point line. He was 3 for 5 from the free throw line, 5 offensive rebounds, 12 defensive boards, no steals, 1 block shot, 1 turnover, which was late in the 4th quarter, and he played 36 minutes and 30 seconds, which was the third highest number on the Sixers tonight in the starting role for Trendon Watford. His first player of the game for us here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. Well-deserved by Trendon Watford tonight. When we come back, we'll talk about his running mate. We termed it Buddy Ball. Well, we got to talk about the guy who led all in scoring. Just a, casual 31 for Tyrese Maxey on a 50% shooting kind of night once again. We'll talk about Maxey, what Joel Embiid did in arguably his best game of the season. Sixers get off the schneid with a 130-120 victory over the Toronto Raptors. Got to celebrate it now because you turn it over pretty quickly. Detroit Pistons in town on Sunday night on the second end of the back-to-back for the Sixers. We'll come back. We'll get to it all with Maxey, Embiid, and much more right here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. I think we got it again, everybody. We bounced back. Philadelphia 76ers bounced back, and I think I bounced back. Did I not, Rich?
I think you did.
Tyrese Maxey with 28.5 is the over-under. Give me that. How about the Sixers win? Give me that. Right there at Bet365, whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. Become one of the 90 million users worldwide like myself, Rich, Bree, everybody here. Make sure you jump in. And I think, what's this, game number 9? So what are we, 6 for 9 this season? That's a pretty good rate right now at Bet365 with our pregame picks. If you want in on that, you got to be in on the pregame show. And you also have to make sure that you are a partner here with Bet365 and signing up with the best app there is out there. If you are a new customer and you want to jump on in there, let me tell you how you do so. Right now, new customers get $300 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. You're not getting that anywhere else. When you sign up, use code PHLY365, deposit $10, place a bet for $5, and you get $300 in bonus bets if the bet wins or loses. Again, no one else is doing that. Bonus bets can be used on the spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. No problem. You get that $300. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And Devon, the other day, I was over at Derek Bodner's place. He was pumped to watch basketball, but his setup, it was a total mess. Lagging, buffering, and switching between apps trying to find the game. He claimed he was a big fan, but I felt like I've been fan-fished. See, if you call yourself a basketball fan, you gotta have our friends at Xfinity. It's the ultimate sports destination. I can find the best games and my favorite teams all in one place. And the way that I watch, it's next level. It's the perfect fan flex. I've got all the action right there in my living room. Plus, Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K, so clear that it feels like I'm in the arena, the Xfinity mobile arena. And sometimes I've even got 4 games going at once because why not? On top of that, I get real-time notifications and live stats right there on my TV. It's the best seat in the house every single time. So next game day, make sure that big fan isn't a big fail and learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers postgame show. A 10-point victory for the Sixers, 130-120. They're now 6-3 on the young campaign. Detroit Pistons in town on Sunday night, 7:30 tip time. We'll be here for a 7 o'clock pregame right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Let's get to Tyrese Maxey because he was also fantastic tonight as he tallied a game-best 31 points on the evening. And with that, you know what? 31, 7, 2 blocks. He was 50% from the field. He was 3 for 10 from beyond. But on, I would say about 7 or 8 of those, they were good looks. We didn't mind them at all. I think there were 2 of them where we collectively, the 3 of us here said, that's a bad shot, Tyrese, but he's Tyrese Maxey. Those things happen. 31 to lead all scorers tonight. Bree, you know what? Let's just go ahead and make this the Ace Hardware Home Services temperature check for the man who won the Eastern Conference Player of the Week last week. Ace Hardware temperature check. Player that's heating up or cooling off, or a team with the Ace Hardware temperature check home line.
He's not heating
services.
He's not heating up. He's just staying hot.
He's staying hot.
Yeah.
And we're doing this with the visit AceHardwareHomeservices.com to get started on your next project. He's just hot, man. He's on a great run. He hasn't hit 40, right? But he didn't have to because he got the production from Watford. We'll get to Embiid with his season high 29. But to your point of what the importance of him being out there on the floor and the way that they're defending him now, like they defend Steph Curry.
Yeah, and I thought, so they were extremely aggressive the entire night. And I got to give them credit. We're going to get to the Sixers transition defense in a little bit, guys, because that was not good. Because the Sixers really, they played an excellent game in a lot of aspects. It probably should not have been that close. But one of the excellent things they did, man, is that Toronto played super aggressive defense on him and Joel Embiid. And that included double teams. That included, with Maxey, it really just included like Jamal Shed. Remember I told you there's always a designated pit bull guard on the other team that's going to hound Tyrese Maxey the entire game. That was Jamal Shed. And Jamal Shed,
he has that reputation.
He did a pretty good job for long stretches. As you said, it didn't matter that much because Tyrese Maxey did have to work for his points tonight, I thought. But he handled that aggression, I thought, really well. And that happened. You know, there were a couple times they lost the ball in the backcourt. He picks it up and he drives for a bucket. But the big thing I thought he did tonight, the back cut game was awesome, right? And that's basketball 101, man. That's just me and you. If we're trying to teach some little kids how to play basketball, hey, if you're getting denied on the wing, go back door, right? And hopefully your teammates will be able to find you. He probably had 4 or 5 of those. I thought he had a couple of other awesome finishes with the footwork. There was the one at the end of the quarter as well. I'm looking at this right now. I mean, I think a big story of tonight's game, man, is that Toronto shot the three-pointer really, really well in this game. The Sixers did not. shoot the three-pointer well. Tyrese Maxey has a pedestrian night for him from beyond the three-point line, 3 of 10 from beyond the arc. You're right, there were a couple of I thought, forced shots in there, but 9 of 14 from two-point range for him. That's always a good sign. That means he's getting good shots, and a lot of it was the back cut tonight. And yeah, I mean, I don't think there was anything else that was too special about this game from him. Oh, you know what was special? Actually, one of my favorite moments of the game, when he blocked Emmanuel Quickly, and Emmanuel Quickly, another one of his very good friends.
Yes.
He stood over him, and he said something mean to him after that was over. He let him know.
I was hoping he wasn't going to get a tech, because you know how they call like that taunting, that little technical there. And I'm like, they're friends. Let it go. Just let it go. But yes, to your point. And even there was another one where he challenged, he missed it, but someone put it there in the chat. Al, the 2-minute warning says his defense has been much improved. Give him credit. He competes on defense, man. We've always said that he gives the effort on defense, but now we're starting to see it actually play itself out in the game where he gets these blocks or he gets these steals or whatever it is, or even just the staying up on someone. And this is the foul here. This is just some of the action that you see where look at how he gets into the chest of who was that? RJ Barrett right there.
Great drive.
Yeah, and he just puts it right. He gets right in his chest. And he gets a foul call. And he only got to the free throw line 5 times. I think he wanted more like he typically does. And we've seen higher free throw attempts for him this season through the 9 games. But this is what you want to see from him. And again, just back to the defense, he's much improved, as Al said, with how he goes about his business on the defensive end. He's no longer a find him, seek him, and just attack him. Yes, find him, seek him because he's 6'2", but he's gonna
It's going to make you work for it.
Exactly.
But, and by the way, I keep making this comparison. You know whose story that was, an NBA superstar who got attacked his entire career, but got to the point where it's like, all right, yeah, you can score on him, but it's not quite as easy. Steph Curry, right? Steph Curry got much stronger throughout his career to the point where he's just not, it's not complete target practice. And I think Tyrese is having that sort of defensive essential. As you said, also on defense, nice block in the fourth quarter from behind. That was a key play. That was sort of he wasn't the guy guarding the ball, but he snuck up from behind and made that play. One other thing I would say too, with the Steph Curry comp on my mind now, just with how he's being guarded, his screens are so effective now because it's the old JJ Redick thing as well. His guy is not going to leave him. Like Jamal Shed, like he's not leaving him. So if Tyrese Maxey makes contact for Trendon Watford driving downhill, Trendon Watford's going to have acres of space. VJ Edgecombe at the end of that game made a couple, really struggled for a lot of the game, and we'll get to him, made a couple of huge plays. But Devon, the amount of space that he can use and Joel Embiid can use because they're just taking Tyrese Maxey out of the game. Like NBA players, if you let them play 4-on-4 with a wide open court, they're pretty darn good, especially guys
that's a lot of space,
as skilled as the Sixers have. So again, like he was a plus 21 on the night. One of the worst stretches of the night was actually when he went to the bench in the at the end of the third quarter. They do need to figure out those backup units, and we'll probably talk about them.
And they're still missing 3 key players.
a little bit. But again, they certainly miss his presence because then they just turn into a normal basketball team when he leaves the floor. But again, like he just continues to pile up. Great game. And again, like this probably wasn't even a quote unquote great game by his standards, but that's because his standards are so high now, man. He had 31 points, 7 assists, and was a plus 21. I mean, he was arguably the best guy on the floor tonight. So,
Rich, he didn't get to his average, man. He didn't hit his average, 33 and a half. He only got 31.
well, that's why your bet was so good, too. Because if the Sixers win, Tyrese Maxey's going to get 28 points.
Yes, this is when if you were making Joel Embiid bets when Joel was healthy, it was easy. Just because you were like, yeah, he's going to get you 28 easy. So if they decide they want to play silly Vegas and give you, Joel's going to simply 29 and a half. Take that. The averages on that for an 82-game season or however many games he plays, you're good. So with that one, I hope you've tailed everybody, and I hope you hit on that one. That one was a fun game to watch. That was our player or team heating up, cooling off, our Ace Hardware temperature check. That thing is still boiling right now, where it just keeps staying in the red because Tyrese Maxey is so hot. Ace Hardware temperature check with Tyrese Maxey. Fantastic again. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project.
So I think the next guy we got to get to
after break.
All right.
Let them know.
Well, after the break,
Who we getting?
Joel Embiid.
We got to talk about the big fella and what he did tonight. And I'll even say this. The fact that he came back, I asked Rich. I said, Rich was like, he's at 18. I said, what, he's got 4 more minutes in him? You're like, nah, 6. Nurse went back to him. I wasn't sure if he was. He did. It paid off. Good call after especially what happened in Chicago. We'll discuss it when we get back. It's the PHLY Sixers postgame show. Sixers now 6-3 after taking down the Raptors in a fun game on a Saturday night in South Philly, 130-120. We'll talk about the big fella, Joel Embiid, his best game of the season, right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
And guys, everybody's got their favorite hard tea, but have you ever turned the can around to read what is in it? You can't, because they don't tell you. And while they hide what's inside, Crooked Tea brags about it. Crooked Tea, they brew real USDA organic tea for real flavor with 0 sugar. No fake junk hiding in there behind the label. What you see is what you drink. So next time you're at the store, flip that can, and if you can't find the ingredients, just put it back on the shelf. Then grab a Crooked Tea, 0 sugar, real tea, and fully transparent. You know it, Philly. Real recognizes real, so why drink the fake stuff? Crooked Tea, the only thing better is a strip sack in the Super Bowl. Visit crookedtea.com to find a store near you.
And I got to tell you about the good folks at Rothman Orthopedics. Yes, listen, I've told you about my ACL and my Achilles. They repaired them. They took care of me, made sure I was all good to go, whether it's a sore knee, a serious repair like the ACL or the Achilles. Maybe you have a stiff shoulder or nagging back pain. It's driving you crazy. And Rothman Orthopedics is here to help get you back to the life that you love. Their team of specialists treats all kinds of orthopedic issues, from everyday strains to long-term joint pain, with care that's efficient, effective, and close to home. I don't know what kind of nasty cut that Barlow has right now, but you know where I say you need to go? You would go to Rothman Orthopedics to get that thing prepared, or to just simply go and get whatever contraption he has on his elbow, because that's a nasty gash that he has. So don't let pain keep you sidelined, everybody. Schedule an appointment today at rothmanortho.com/PHLY. Rothman Orthopedics, your mobility, our mission. Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers postgame show. Kyle Neubeck will join us later on from the arena following the postgame interviews that are out there. I imagine that Trendon Watford would get a call to the table.
Podium
tonight.
game for Trendon, for sure.
100%. But Joel Embiid, maybe he's a locker room guy tonight just because he said, you know what, I played third fiddle tonight. And he did so spectacularly because he played 25 minutes and 57 seconds to be exact for the team tonight. He had 3 personal fouls, only 2 turnovers, had a block shot as well. And 4 assists, 6 rebounds, 9 free throws. He was 8 for 9 from the foul line, 10 for 16, very efficient, 1 for 4 from 3, 10 for 16 from the floor, as we mentioned, 29 points tonight. Rich, what were your thoughts on Joel Embiid's overall performance this evening?
Definitely a step in the right direction. I thought best game of the year has to be just best two-way game of the year, plus 15, as you said. And Devon, the other thing that was interesting to me, this was the first game. He got 5 stints tonight. At first, it was 3 stints. Then it was 4 stints. And then it was like, okay, is the 4th stint going to be at the end of the third quarter or at the end of the fourth quarter, with him having to rest for, 40 minutes? And we saw how that worked in Chicago. Tonight, they got him in for a few minutes with that second unit at the end of the third quarter, but then they brought him back at the end of the game as well. So, look, I think that goes to show he's making some progress in terms of his minutes limit. He got it up to 26 minutes tonight. But the 5th stint, I think that's important too, getting more time in and out of the lineup. So if you told me about tonight's game, I'd say a couple things. Obviously, Jakob Poeltl was not in the game tonight. So Toronto starts Scotty Barnes against Joel Embiid. And we wondered before the game, is he going to punish their mismatch? Because again, he hasn't showed enough force in the early going. I think that's him maybe just not being confident with the knee and just not playing with that level of physicality. Mm-hmm. Again, it wasn't perfect, but he showed a lot of physicality tonight. We noticed probably in the second quarter, he's getting deep seals within the offense. And it wasn't just against Scotty Barnes, even though he put him in foul trouble as well. It was Sandro. I don't know how you say this. I'm not even going to say it.
Don't even try. 54. Number
54. Number 54. I was trying to see if I could do it, but I actually can't say that last name.
I don't blame you.
Who, again, decent player.
Not bad.
Yeah, he got deep post position against these guys, and it felt like he got a couple easier buckets. He did get blocked on a couple of drives by Scotty Barnes. I got to be honest, man. I like that he even tried those drives. Like he wasn't really even trying to drive any sort of big man, any sort of other player. And I also thought his passing was really good as well. We talked about earlier, he found Maxey on a couple of backdoor cuts. He finishes with the 4 assists tonight. I bet you he had 3 other hockey assists as well, though, where the double, like Toronto was just throwing a bunch of bodies at him, and he's making that first pass. And again, the team that sort of used to write the book on how to double team him and how to chaos it up against him. Some of those guys still there. They have moved on from a lot of those players, but with Nick Nurse on his sideline now, it felt like he was pretty good at handling those double teams. Couple turnovers, sure. But again, I thought he was very good on offense. And so on defense, like he had to guard Barnes. And so that's a very difficult matchup with Toronto playing small, especially with Scotty Barnes making his jumpers at the beginning of the game. And Toronto was on fire for a lot of this game. And guys, I got to say, like, as much as the transition defense bothered me, and I'm going to get to that in a few seconds here, to win a game where Toronto shoots 42% from beyond the arc and you shoot 28% from beyond the arc, it means you did a lot of other stuff correctly in this game. And it really just felt like the Sixers executed their offense a little bit better. And once Toronto dried up a little bit on those jumpers, the Sixers came back in that game. So Joel played a huge part in that. I thought he was better as a help guy when he was guarding number 54, when he was helping off other players, contested a few plays at the rim. Again, not perfect, but a huge step in the right direction. Love what we saw from Joel. Definitely not going to play tomorrow night. We'll see you on Tuesday against Boston. The first 2 games against them, first game was really bad. Second game was a little bit better, but you lost. Maybe the third game is the breakthrough against the Boston Celtics.
No, it was just good to see him. I mean, when we talked about stacking the wins and how important that is for this basketball team, dropping the 1 to Chicago, but taking those games that they took on early on. Look, through 9 games, this is probably rich where they're supposed to be at 6-3. And that's fine because we've seen a lot of good things. We've seen some things that they need to clean up. Is this sustainable? The pace, the way that they play? We're still waiting for 3 of their important players to come back. But also what's important is stacking these types of performances from Joel Embiid and getting this. Because I think ultimately what it means, we've seen him frustrated on the floor like early on when they were winning games and he was still in the postgame say, I don't know how I'm doing this because I know we're following the game plan. However, I'm frustrated because he cannot stay in a rhythm that he would like with just this minute restriction that he has going on early in the season at 20. Now it seems like up to 25. But when he has these good performances like this, the one thing that we've talked about is mentally, he needs to know that he can do this stuff. And Scotty Barnes is a very agile, young forward in this league who can beat him to the spot that we thought we saw him do a few times. But Joel is just skillful and still powerful and has the touch to finish there from 14, 15, even on in where he can get the shot off. This stuff is important for that too, just the mental aspect of him knowing that he can get away and do this type of stuff and finish at the basket, even with a player like that who's going to gamble, sending those double teams where he got caught a couple of times early on, but he figured it out later on. So for me, the 29 was great to see, but for him to also try to block some of those shots that he tried to attempt to block.
He's getting more adventurous.
Putting the ball on the floor and going to the basket. That got punched by Scotty Barnes. Good defensive play. We know Joel doesn't have the lift like he used to, but he did it. You know what's the next thing he's going to do when he does it? He's going to have that. We've seen him do it on the right side where he goes, puts the ball on the floor, goes to the basket, has that elongated stride, gets the guy up in the air, boom, whistle, touch, free throws, and that one free throw. Now it's on the left side. Is he going to be able to? It's the right foot now. Elongated strides, get him up there, boom, get the shot off just like we see him do a lot of times to draw that contact and get to the free throw line. So that's where it's important for me that he stacks these types of things up, these performances up, and has those mental things that are going on right now where he's saying, you know what, I can do this when they need him to do it at a particular point of the game. If he's in there, it's a 5-point game, 4 minutes to go, they need to push this to 7 and get some free throws. Yes, the clock stops, but they just need points on the board, and maybe he has to get some free throws to do so. He knows that he can do that, especially after seeing this one, following the Chicago performance. I'm sure that he is thrilled that this one turned out way differently than the last one.
And everything was going so well for him tonight that he got away with a ridiculous over-the-head pass because it squirts through the entire defense. And
someone brought it up in the chat.
And Justin Edwards picks it up in the corner and he shoots it right away and makes the 3. But you know what? He did so many good things on the offensive end tonight. I thought he deserved it. And yeah, you mentioned the drives that he got blocked by Barnes. Like, yeah, I think it's good that he's like even trying that because now he knows what his limitations are, and he's like, all right, I got to do something a little bit different. Yeah, exactly. But the fact that you're trying it, that's the only way you can learn as you are recovering from this knee injury. So yeah, very, very solid game for Joel. Okay, let's get, there's a couple more positives to get to.
Yeah, so we'll take this final break. We come back, we'll get to the other positives that Rich wants to talk about those. And we'll get to the Super Chats as well because we have quite a few Super Chats that are rolling in with a lot of people. Like EJ Barrett, I saw already said, I signed up, everybody. EJ signed up. So
thank you, EJ.
Thank you. Thumbs up to you, my friend, even though this is the forefinger. The thumbs up to you. And we appreciate you signing up to become a diehard member, EJ Barrett. We'll read the rest of the Super Chats. Everybody, while we're reading these ads, hit that like button. Tell others to like and subscribe and to become a diehard member as well. We appreciate it. Sixers win 130-120. We'll get to the other positives that Rich wants to get into on the other side right here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. All right, folks, got to tell you, as we hang out with you, and we all excited about this win. Good to get a W back in the book, in the win column there tonight. Got to tell you about the good people at Elkins Chevrolet because it's my favorite. I told you, I drive a Chevy, and when we were all talking collectively here, I'm like, you know what? That might be time for a new one. And I know exactly where I'm going to go with Elkins Chevrolet, and that is with the great folks there at Elkins Chevrolet. The three brothers, they treat everybody great. They make sure that you are all good. They make sure that you are all set for whatever you need. And they keep you in all the great vehicles that are there, whether it's a Trax or a Traverse or a Malibu, whatever car of your choice that is there for you, they've got you covered. So if you're looking for a new vehicle and you need a great car, Elkins Chevrolet is the place for you to go because the three brothers are fantastic. No turnovers, no losses, just a great selection of vehicles there at Elkins Chevrolet in New Jersey. So go check them out, elkinchevrolet.com to get yours.
And guys, this is a PHLY initiative, and we want to thank you all for being part of the PHLY community. But we're always looking to improve our shows and better understand how you listen and what you value most. And that's why we've launched a quick survey. Your feedback helps us shape the content you love and make it even better. And it only takes a few minutes, but it makes a big impact. So take a minute and head over to allphly.com/survey. That's allphly.com/survey and let your voice be heard. And respondents have a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card. We appreciate you guys.
All right, welcome back to the PHLY Sixers post-game show as we hang out with you here tonight. All right, let's get to the other positives that you wanted to talk about, man.
Two more quick positives because I do want to get into a couple of the negatives because this game was close and it wasn't all perfect. But I think both of these guys certainly deserve a shout out. And the number one guy, Kelly Oubre, just continues to play really good basketball, 8 of 15 from the field. Drove the ball really hard tonight, made a couple of other ridiculous fall-away jumpers. We'll take it, Kelly, but again, continues to play really hard, 19 points for him. And then the other guy I want to talk about, I wouldn't say he had a good game overall, but what did you make of VJ Edgecombe, who struggled? I believe he was 2 of 12 at one point, but he closes 3 of 3 down the stretch. Some big hoops to give the Sixers some breathing room down the stretch. What'd you make of all that, man?
That's where I kind of just erase everything that happened before that because the Sixers, as we all discussed here internally, at the end of the third quarter, when they were up 97-84, they had a chance after Embiid makes that crazy pass behind the head and Edwards knocks down that three.
13-point lead.
97-84, 13-point lead. They got a defensive stop, came back down. He shot another three. Edgecombe found him. We thought that, hey, man, if you knock that one down or any one of the other buckets, you just extend that and you're sitting pretty. 16, maybe 15-point lead at that point. Toronto then goes on a run and they close that gap. So the game is tighter in the fourth quarter as a result. VJ Edgecombe had some timely plays, both defensively and offensively. So while we have sat here and talked about, it seems like the legs are catching up to him, all the minutes played that we discussed in the pregame and the defensive assignment and him being a little passive with some things, I guess more because he knows that he doesn't have his legs. So he's not trying to be a negative out there on the floor. He's trying to make plays but still create for his teammates. He had to find other ways. And he had some really good buckets, man. The finish at the rim, the fadeaway that he had, that I because he missed the ones that he took early on in the game, I didn't want him to take those. I just didn't. But he did, and he made them, and I'm glad he did for how he did it. So I just thought that the composure that he had, the guts to take those, where some of the other games that we've talked about in both Cleveland and Chicago, he didn't really have it. Seemed like he didn't want to do it. Tonight he did, and that was after having a subpar performance through the first, let's say, 30 minutes of the game. But he found his spots, found those timely possessions, finishing at the rim, fadeaway jumper. He had a big rebound down the stretch where he snuck in there after a couple of offensive rebounds by Toronto. He snuck in there and stole one and gave the Sixers the basketball back. So I thought with everything that Edgecombe did, that really just, for me, encapsulated what type of night it was for him. And more importantly, what type of kid he is, that he stayed with it, even on the offensive end.
He was able to create some space for those step back threes, those shots that in the first week he made a few of those, and we were like, man, I can't believe that this kid has that in his bag already. He's tried a few of them, and they started to not go in. I actually thought Brandon Ingram gave him a little bit of space at the end of that game, Ingram did, and he took him into the lane, and he settled for he got all the way into the lane, went for a pull-up jump shot, and he made that. That was the right call at that point. That's something that he can do. He's got a lot of athleticism. He's able to stop on a dime and rise up over somebody like Ingram. That was a really good play as well. So a nice stretch for VJ to close the game. And also, he got a pretty cool alley-oop in the middle of the game from Tyrese. Tyrese, the game, again, I think it was against Chicago earlier this week. Not a good pass. VJ did a nice job to get the ball to Kelly Oubre after Tyrese threw it behind him. Tyrese put this one on the money. I think that's the first of many alley-oops, by the way, in the old Sixers uniforms, maybe those are the new Flight brothers. You never know.
Yeah.
Hopefully VJ's a little better than Larry Hughes, but
Hopefully Tyrese Maxey is a better passer than Iverson was, because
and Bree showed it. Yeah, exactly.
Because Iverson was a really good scoop on the backdoor Larry Hughes lobs that they had, which was a patented play that they had. Great drawing up by Larry Brown and the staff that they did at that time. But this one right here, man, this was fantastic. That this division, you could see it developing. You could see him streaking from the left side, VJ Edgecombe, and it was just a really good play by Tyrese Maxey to get it up there and put it in the spot where he can go up there and get it. You have to really throw that one out of the picture for VJ Edgecombe to not be able to get it. And we've seen Maxey do it, miss him a few times. That one was perfect, and I appreciate Maxey acknowledging that one, seeing that one, and throwing that lob up there for that one. Lob count. It's one tonight. So, folks, we've had the lob count, and I kept forgetting to ask Bree to let's do the lob count after the games. So going forward, we have the lob count. They don't do it a lot, and that's why we're doing it, because I love the alley-oop, and they don't do it enough, in my opinion. So we're going to lob count whenever they do it. That's one for tonight, Rich.
It was funny to see VJ had a turnover late in the game, man, where he got into the paint and Trendon Watford was open. And he should have thrown Trendon Watford.
Yes, he should have.
Some sort of lob. I'm not saying Trendon Watford would have dunked that, but that was clearly the pass, and he threw it a little lower, and it got stolen. And, the Trendon Watford was like, hey, man, you're always the guy that's pointing up to the sky. I think you needed to do that for me as well. Okay, so that was a good end. All right, Devon, they did a lot of really good things in this game, but I would be remiss if I did not mention the transition defense is so bad.
Gotta talk about it.
It's so bad, and it's not fun to talk about because, it's a team-wide problem. But, Devon, they had, I believe it was 36 fast break points, Toronto. Like, this game should have been over. You're right. Like, you mentioned that stretch when Justin Edwards makes the three to go up 13 points. And they just gave up, I think, like 4 straight transition buckets. Ingram runner in transition. Quickly wide open 3 in transition. Quickly makes a 3. That was off a made field goal. He gets a bucket in transition. And then Barnes gets a bucket in transition as well. Look, the Sixers, guys, I am fully aware of their limitations. Like Joel, not that fast getting back on defense. The rest of the guys, not a very big team, especially with Dominic Barlow and Paul George out of the lineup at this point. There's no excuse to be that bad in transition. They're a fast team. They're getting absolutely destroyed. And part of the reason it was embarrassing tonight, man, Toronto was on the second half of a back-to-back, and they're the ones running the ball down your throat. So they did a lot of really good things tonight, but they really got to clean that part up because, look, they're just leaving money on the table and just letting teams get back into the game with easy, simple stuff that's got to get better. And that's all I got to say about it.
It was really frustrating because, as Rich said in the pregame, you have to take advantage of a team that had played the night before, had to get on an airplane from Atlanta and come to Philadelphia. The legs are tired. They're tired. Don't give them an opportunity to believe that they can win the basketball game, and you did. And therefore, you had to play a little bit harder than you probably wish that you did. Now, I'm glad that they passed the test because they haven't done it as much as, in the last couple of games that we would like to, especially against Chicago where you hold them off and get that one. But that is one that, you would like to see them handle it a little bit better. But I do give them credit for how they responded then late, especially when Joel Embiid came back into the game. Watford kept playing at that same level. Kelly Oubre kept attacking and making plays. He even had that one that was ricocheted off of, I believe Maxey was trying to hit Watford. It bounced off of him, and Kelly Oubre was in the right spot because he was crashing the glass. He was going for an offensive rebound, and in turn, the ball ricochets off of them, goes in his hands, he gets a dunk. And that's 2 points that they desperately needed at that time of the game. So the one thing that we've asked a lot is just continual effort from this basketball team. And what we saw tonight was they never gave up. They gave the effort. They gave up 120 points to a team that played on the second night of a back-to-back, which is, again, early. They can address it. They can figure these things out, and they are at home, so that's a bonus. But I like that they didn't quit. They didn't put their heads down like we saw the other night, and they kept competing, and in the end, they came out on top.
It's a weird thing because they're playing hard. I'm not saying that they're not playing hard, but they are not getting back on defense. And whether that's going too hard for the offensive glass, and yes, there is a push and pull with that, right? You can't be excited about the offensive rebounds and not factor in how much that plays into you getting back in transition. Because, hey, you get the offensive rebound, it's great, but the other team does, and you crash 3 guys to the glass, all right, then you're in trouble going the other way. But the ones off made baskets, like, come on, man. You got to be able to get back on those. So,
where's your head? You know what I mean? Where's your head in that?
Look, we brought this up 51 minutes into the pod tonight. I would have let off with it if the Sixers lost. Like, I would have said, we're going to get to Trendon Watford and Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid and the Sixers doing all of these things so well. But if you don't fix this to a certain degree, like, you're going to lose games that you should win. Hopefully they figure it out at some point. Hopefully the personnel gets a little bit better. But it definitely has been an issue so far. Another potential issue, and I'm going to ask you the question. Do the Sixers have a new backup center starting? Well, both the guys are going to play tomorrow night. Starting Tuesday. Is Andre Drummond the backup center on Tuesday night?
He should be. Yeah, he should be. Bona's been terrible. He simply has not been good at all. And I think it's time for them to look in that direction with this one, because Andre Drummond just simply has not been a good. I mean, Adem Bona has not been good in his minutes, in his starting minutes, nor in his backup minutes. He cannot rebound, as we've talked about. He's still picking up these silly fouls, these cheap fouls. And just as many times as he's blocking some shots, the good decisions there, he's also out of position or out of place, and he's just out there, and he's just doing silly stuff. So I would say Andre Drummond has retaken that lead, should get the opportunity to keep the job. And while we know that Bona's going to have to play tomorrow night because Embiid is not going to play on the second night of a back-to-back, I believe that Andre Drummond should get this one.
So I think Bona is still coasting on that crazy stretch at the end of the Washington game. Where,
5
by the
blocks.
way, look, he basically won that game with
Player of
those
the
block
game.
shots. Yeah, and deserved it.
That has run out.
On that night. He's been a disaster since then. And Devon, if you look at the numbers, Andre Drummond, I believe these numbers are heading into tonight. So, by the way, these numbers, Drummond's numbers are going to go up and Bona's numbers are going to go down. Andre Drummond, plus 13 net rating in 117 minutes with him. He leads the Sixers in net rating. Adem Bona is down at, where's he at? They are... Right. Oh, well, they're +6 with Bona so far this year. But look, I just think Drummond has earned it at this point. Like, I think he comes into the game tonight. Bona's rebounding is an issue. And we know
it's a problem.
The Drummond's issue, when Drummond is going bad, his pick and roll defense and his inability to protect the rim, that is the big issue. Obviously, he can do some silly stuff on the offensive and defensive end as well. But the big thing to me is the inability to protect the rim. That is what Bona technically should be the best at, but he's not doing that, and the rebounding is a disaster with Bona. There was a stretch tonight where he gives up an offensive board, and did he get pushed? Maybe, but it's also a play where it's like, man, I want you to fight for that rebound. Like, I don't want my center falling into the third row on a rebound unless it's Joel Embiid, and he knows how to do it. You're right, Joel might be the one exception to that rule. But I want Adem Bona going to get that rebound, and he just doesn't do it. There's another play where he runs straight into Quentin Grimes for a rebound. By the way, they got to do some baseball-style stuff. I got it. Like, these guys, they run into each other.
No dribbling, just rebound drill.
On the uncontested rebounds. And by the way, the bigger guy should say, I got it.
Yes,
I got it.
Yes.
And then they put Drummond into the game after that first stint. That's the second time in a row that they've done that. And Drummond grabs a rebound like literally on the first possession. And I just said, all right, just roll with this guy the rest of the game.
Yep.
And Drummond gave them competent minutes the rest of the game. And when you look, Adem Bona, look, single game plus minus. I don't want to harp on it too much. He felt like a -13 in 6 minutes. That wasn't all his fault. Quentin Grimes was going crazy. It was bad Quentin again for the most part in tonight's game. So that's not all on Adem Bona. But they're not getting stops. They're not getting rebounds with him on the floor right now. And I think Drummond, as you said, should be the backup center right now.
You know how we talk about you played a lot of basketball, Team USA, maybe that helps you out, for the USA guys, or Ferk in the past with Turkey. Is that going to help him out and all that? Adem Bona played a lot of basketball this summer. Summer league, then he went to play for Turkey with his national team.
Yeah.
And right back to training camp with the Sixers. I'm not saying that that's the issue, and I'm not trying to pass an excuse. I am pointing out that he played a lot of basketball, and maybe he does need a little bit of a break right now to just get back to the basics of what he needs to do, because he's going too fast. He's out of position like Theo talked about, and it's just too many times, man. And this rebounding stuff. We always talk about, hey, it's a want to, it's an effort thing. It's not that he doesn't want to. He clearly wants to.
He's just out of position.
Yes, every time. And it has to improve, or he's going to find himself always on the back end of a roster or out of the league. And he's very talented for the things that you ask of him as a backup center and then as a fill-in center for the amount of minutes that you need. I mean, come on, man. You have to be in position to rebound the basketball. You just do. And it's just too many times where we see this, and too many times where he's running into teammates. Now, they can also, with their heads cut off, the chicken with a head cut off, and they're also, like we said, Grimes just running all crazy out there at 100 miles. He's like, it's not as bad as Tony Roten, but sometimes you're like, slow down, man. It's all good. Slow down. But Bona has to be better, man. You are a much better player than that, I think. and I would like to see that. We're going to quick overtime, everybody, because we have to get the Super Chats in. So thank you on the television side. We really appreciate you hanging with us. Head on over to allphly.com for the remainder of the postgame show. Sixers win by 10, 6-3 on the season. Another game tomorrow night. We'll see you for pregame at 7 o'clock.
Look, the issue with Drum is sometimes it's a layup line, and you can't just get any stops because he's allowing guys to score. But Drum is an excellent defensive rebounder on a team that struggles on the defensive glass, and Bona is a terrible defensive rebounder for a center at that position. I think you got to roll with Drum. It's opposite from last year, man, right? Like last year at this point, we were like, we couldn't get Drummond off the floor fast enough at this point last year. But look, with backup centers, I tend not to feel like too wedded to development, and it's like, man, you're here to just give us competent basketball, protect the rim at a decent level, rebound the ball, make your open layups and dunks that players give you, set good screens, and I feel like Drummond is doing a better job of that than Bona right now, and I think maybe it changes. Maybe at some point Bona comes on and he starts to play better, but yeah, I would go with Drummond.
All right, let's get to Bree. Can you just show the overhead photo that you and I had with the Sixers? This is from the NBA, and this photo, I don't even think it was the Sixers. I think it was the NBA. The NBA had this photo, overhead photo shot. So, our buddy Alex Subers, who would sometimes go up in the rafters and take photos for the Sixers and all that stuff when he was working with the Sixers. He still does it when he's in town. Yeah, Alex he's a superstar now. But this one was really, really cool. Number one, I want to get your thoughts on the uniforms and the court, since we got to see it together tonight for the full 48. How great is this photo? How great is that? The Sixers and Nike.
It feels like Dikembe jumping it up in the finals, man. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, the Sixers got that right with the floor and the design of how it looks, the two-tone paint. Again, the logo at the center. And then the uniforms in general. Nike and the Sixers collectively coming together on this one. They got the uniforms right, I think, Rich. For as long as the fan base has wanted this and waited for it, and it's not the shiny material of the champion, the one that we have here on the table, on the desk here, but Nike and the Sixers, they got this one right, I thought.
Look good, feel good, play good. Yeah, I think all of it was great, man. I really enjoyed it. They brought hip-hop back, by the way, and
rang the bell.
Hip-hop rang the bell tonight. Our favorite, jacked bunny. And actually, the guy who plays hip-hop is this guy named Bill Roth, who was the original hip-hop for, I think it was like 15 years.
Did someone we know write a story on him?
Somebody we know might have wrote a story about it. There might be a story.
I remember, I read it, but I wanted to make sure. I was like, yes, I remember that. Okay.
If you Google Alex Coffey, Bill Roth, I think it might pop up at this point. But anyway, he has come back to play hip hop. He's a much older guy, and he had some very funny jokes about, like, man, I gotta ice my knee, make sure I don't tear an ACL. But he seems like a wonderful dude. His kids are all grown up. His kids used to play the little bunnies around.
Yes,
they can't play the little bunnies anymore because they're in college now. But good to see hip hop back. Real quick, Devon, because I wanted to talk about this because it is in that Alex Coffey story. Have you ever heard of the Do Crew before?
Refresh my memory.
Oh, yeah. It's the most ridiculous thing. So basically, it was the first game at the now Xfinity Mobile Arena. Pat Croce is the guy running things. So Pat Croce is the guy that every Philadelphian loves, right? Pat Croce is just passionate. He's cool. He's fun. He's pumping his fist in the stands. But he loved putting on a show for the fans. And so when they moved into the new arena, the first night of the new arena, they had a halftime act called the Do Crew. Now, don't ask me what the Do Crew did. I think they were sponsored by Mountain Dew. That's how you spell it, the DEW Crew. But don't quote me on that. The only thing you need to know is that the Do Crew at opening night that first year, I think it was 1996, for the Sixers, they went on for one halftime and they got booed off the court.
Okay.
They got booed off the entire court. Okay. And Dave Koski, who used to be higher up with the Sixers, is talking to Pat Croce afterwards. And he's like, it's okay. I think it can be salvaged. And Pat Croce, who's the man and was not messing around with putting on a show, and the halftime he's like, nah, they're done. The Dew Crew is finished. So after one game, the Dew Crew, that was it.
He said, I'm done.
With Pat Croce. And out of the Dew Crew's failure, hip-hop was born about a year later, and hip-hop was there for
good stuff.
For 15 days. So that was always a pretty funny story for me. I just learned about that in the past year. The other thing that you mentioned that we had a good laugh about, they played 40 bars.
Oh, man, I was going to get to it. Shout out DJ Ghost and the Sixers.
That instrumental hits, man.
Oh, man, you got to play 40 bars by Jules with a Z. A.K.A. Allen Iverson. We were sitting there listening. I looked at Rich. Rich looked at me. We were like, 40 bars. David Stern may rest in peace because
he put a kibosh on that.
He said, no, thank you. This is not happening. And not on my watch. It is not happening. Adam Silver's got a lot more going on right now to be worried about if an instrumental of 40 bars is playing in the arena on the first night that the Sixers wear the uniform. So just a great all-around night. Great finish by the Sixers. Yeah. Let's get to the Super Chats. And we'll catch up with Kyle tomorrow, everybody. EJ Barrett, once again, we got to shout out EJ because EJ said that he did sign up to become a diehard member, and we appreciate it. EJ says, make sure y'all like the video. Make sure you like the video, hit the like button. It's very easy. Yes, you come in here and you watch the show. That takes a lot of effort, we know. But could you just hit that like button for us, please? Bree is the greatest, and she does a great job.
Get us to 100.
And all the likes. Yes, get us to 100 before we step off here for the end of the post-game show. We really appreciate it. Jake M. says, this game, example of Maxey's growth. Didn't have it from three, but in total control of mid-range and around the rim, using body, change of pace, no off-balance shots overall. Jake M., pretty good observation, man.
Yeah, no. From 2-point range, I thought Maxey was great tonight, and a lot of it was off ball, man. A lot of it was off ball, getting into floaters, getting into drives to the basket. Like you said, using his body to draw a few fouls and also score a couple buckets as well. So I completely agree. I think the fact that Tyrese Maxey can have that good of a game when he's really not shooting the three ball that well, that speaks a lot about what type of player this guy has become.
Far different.
One of the best players in the NBA.
Far different from when we were talking about the losses last season where he couldn't do it, but he's got a lot more talent around him to help out as well. Appreciate it, Jake M. Skunk Riley says, no haiku tonight, just thoughts. Number one, Trendon Watford with the triple-double? Yes, indeed. A fantastic triple-double. 17 rebounds, a career high. He was tremendous. Very impressed by the tenacity. Bad 3 quarters from VJ Edgecombe, but great in the fourth. That was number 2. We talked about that. And number 3, I'll admit, I didn't want to see Joel at the end, but he came through. Unlike in Chicago, he got it together for tonight, and he was much, much better.
And I appreciate Skunk admitting that. And look, I was a little nervous about him coming in for a 5th stint. As I said, he has not done that so far this year. You got to stick with Joel Embiid. You got to hope he figures it out to a degree. There are going to be ups and downs. He certainly is trying to figure out his body's limitations and how he can still impact the game at the highest level because he was there before. But yeah, the best version of this team is one with Joel Embiid. So when you have the chance to bring him in for the 4th quarter, you got to do it.
You can see how they can win games with him out there. Even if he's not the number 1 option anymore, you can still see that he can help impact the game.
And look, some of it is
that's what's important.
He's got to adjust to the guys around him as well. And I thought he did a great job of that tonight.
Skunk says, okay, here's a haiku. From Ash Roots Awaken, old songs hum beneath new rain, light learns to begin.
That's beautiful as always, Skunk.
Skunk is the best. I couldn't even come close to putting a haiku together like this. So, shout out Skunk, as always. EJ says, Joe played some defense. Tough most of the game for VJ, but the close was great and with confidence. Still all in on Watford. He made some great passes from the post. Offense was with him. Just looks organized. EJ, you know what? Since you say that, it made me think about one of my favorite passes in the second half. I looked at Rich and Bree, and I was like, throw it. Because Joel had, I believe it was Scotty Barnes sealed. He was fronting. He had him front. He kind of forced Barnes to front him. And he did. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, throw it. I had no worry because it was Trendon Watford. He's probably arguably the best passer on the team right now. And with that really soft touch pass over the top, Joel catches it, boom, does what he does at the rim. And that was when I looked at these guys here and was like, that was a great pass. And somebody brought it up when we were talking about Watford in the first block there, that you haven't seen anybody outside of me talking about Paul George, but I give respect to Nick Batum because Nick Batum is also a guy that would do
great
things
entry
like
passer.
that. Yeah, so Watford, that's going to be important down the line for things like that.
Look, before Nick Batum, who was only here for one season, there was a lot of number 12 just trying to get the ball into Joel Embiid, and Joel Embiid being like, all right, I got to get out of the lane now because I've been open all this time. So, yeah, I think Trendon Watford, he opens up so many possibilities. So there's two elements. One, getting the guy who can make those passes, but Joel showing tonight, all right, you can put a small guy on me. I can get back to my old ways and just throw my body around in the paint. Seal. I thought he made like 4 or 5 awesome seals against smaller players tonight. I think he drew a foul on Barnes on the one you're talking about.
Absolutely. And Barnes fouled out tonight. A lot of that was because of what
a lot of it was
did.
Embiid.
And the free throws down the stretch, you pointed out. Embiid got those guys in the early foul trouble, picking up fouls in the fourth quarter, allowed them to be in the bonus a lot quicker down the stretch when they needed some points. EJ with another one says, you know what they say, you can't go 79-3 without 3 losses. Glad we got them out of the way. 100% EJ Barrett wins the rest of the way. No worries. Let's get ready for the playoffs. And finally, became a diehard subscriber, as we mentioned earlier. Got a free Maximus t-shirt on the way. As you should. Congratulations to you. Thank you for joining the diehard community.
Real quick, Kyle had a tweet. Embiid on Watford, quote, reminded me of Ben Simmons tonight, end quote. Probably.
I mean, Ben had a lot of triple doubles like that.
Probably means that in the positive.
Yeah. It was the things that he did to affect the offensive end of the floor. 100%.
With slightly less athleticism than Ben Simmons had.
Yes. Let's get Bernard. Will Maxey ever get 5 minutes straight of rest?
So that's an issue, Bernard. And Bernard, as always, with some great observations. We can have him up on. Yeah, I think, look, the non-Maxey minutes, they're going to have to figure that out. It's a lot of Quentin Grimes. It's a lot of Quentin Grimes. Maybe 1 out of every 5 games, that much of Quentin Grimes is a great thing. But, yeah, it can go – like when Quentin Grimes is bad, Devon, it's really bad.
Not good.
Yeah, so I think Nick Nurse needs to do a better job of figuring out how to get him in the game. I mean, we'll ask Kyle about this as well.
McCain.
Yeah, Jared McCain just didn't play tonight.
Did not.
I assume he's just going to play tomorrow. I
think so, but we'll find out from Kyle when he checks in. Thank you. Appreciate it again. Hedfa, just got to go on my Trendon Watford victory tour. No big deal. The team never signs the guys I want. When they finally do, Maxey gets a new 2-man partner. Buddy ball, Hedva. Good call by you.
Hedva was yelling at me in the summer for not being as positive on Trendon Watford. So I think very fair to take the early victory tour on this one.
No doubt about it. EJ, thank you, Hedfa. EJ, again, they are not Dre and Steph, but if Watford Maxey can get even a portion of the Dre-Steph chemistry offensively, that would be sick. If they got that, I mean, you're talking about a guy who's going to be starting, not coming off the bench. If they got that. But
totally. And I got to say, too, I've always made the point, Draymond is a great passer, but everybody talks about his 2-man game with Steph. That's like 98% Steph. Draymond, where he is special, is on the defensive end of the court.
Yes.
And his ability to do everything on the defensive end. Now, he's an amazing passer, so he's a perfect fit with Steph. I will say, though, guys, like Maxey is getting guarded not at Steph's level, but the other teams are horrified of him. He is getting denied the second he's over half court. It's, I mean, he's got some serious gravity, which guys like Watford, guys like Embiid, Edgecombe, Oubre, all of these guys, they got a lot of space, got a lot of room to operate. And I think Tyrese Maxey is having an effect on the offense, even when he's not involved in the possession, just with the way he's being guarded.
All right.
Last one.
Riaz. Guys, great win. However, we just don't contest shots, and guys are getting way too many open looks. This needs to change if we want to really contend. Riaz, we were yelling about it. Too many open shots, especially just walking into those threes early on. Ball was swinging. Ball was popping for the Raptors. They got some really good looks. And to their credit, they knocked them down. The other one that I didn't like, I think all three of us didn't like, we understood it, but we didn't like it. Barnes in the middle of that defense that they were playing, and Joel was backed off of him way too deep in the paint. kind of like a drop. He was just pulling up right there around, wasn't even 15. He was like 13. He was inside the free throw line. That was just basic. That's just workout pregame shots.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup for Joel.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But you don't love them because they were too wide open.
They shot the ball really well from beyond the arc, and there are a couple where you're like, all right, Quickly's got it going. He's cooking. There were a lot of easy ones there too.
Thanks to everybody for all the super chats. We do have our guy. Let's head on down to the arena. Check in with our good buddy Kyle Neubeck here on Retro Night. As the uniforms, the floor, everything was popping. The points were on the board. Everything was happening, man. And joining us on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line, Kyle, we discussed everything about this team, but we have to get your thoughts since you saw it up close and personal. The best Trendon Watford game we have seen. I would guess that Trendon Watford probably said this was his best professional basketball game, and he got first career triple-double out of it.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw the quote pop up, but Joel Embiid, with a big old smirk on his face in the locker room, said, "Reminded me of Ben Simmons tonight," and then went on to talk about, obviously, the all-around display we saw from Watford. Honestly, guys, I think something that jumped out at me, aside from the triple-double, which I know was huge, I feel like he's moving better defensively than I can remember him moving at past stops. I think that's part of why he's able to get to 17 rebounds. After the game, it was funny. Nick said that Tyrese has said that Watford is not a good rebounder. And Watford was reminded of that during his own press conference and took great joy in saying, look, I was good in high school, I was good in college, but a lot of athletes in the league. So it takes some time to find your flow there, find your spots on the floor and whatnot. But I mean, you just can't say enough about a guy who missed the entire preseason, and then he manages to just walk right into this team and not just steal a spot in the rotation, but plant his flag as a potential starter. I mean, there were debates happening in this media room after, do you have to consider him as a full-time starter even when they're at full health? That's how well he played tonight. Just a terrific performance from a guy who's playmaking, scoring, and just overall contributions came all over the floor in all different roles.
Kyle, I believe there's 31 minutes left to say this, so happy birthday, my man, as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You know, these guys got to work on their birthdays, so no exceptions for us either. Well,
I have a present for you, and it's a question. What did Nick Nurse say about Jared McCain and why he didn't play? It was a little weird.
That was a straightforward one. He said there were scenarios where Jared was going to get into the game tonight. They didn't present themselves. He will be available for tomorrow's back-to-back against Detroit. So my translation of that was, had guys been in foul trouble, had guys been hurt, that they would have called on him, but seemed like more of a break glass in case of emergency thing. And I think they probably could have used them tonight with how some of those second unit minutes looked without Maxey and with Grimes running the show, but he should be available, and I would assume play a decent amount of minutes tomorrow night against the Pistons.
And the other question I had for you, at least initially here, is you said you talked to Joel. Felt like his best game of the season so far. What did he have to say about his performance?
Yeah, I mean, I got to pull him aside just to have a quick chat with him afterward as well. I think he's just feeling better. I think, honestly, the biggest tell, and Derek remarked on this while we were waiting for Trendon and Tyrese tonight, he just seems to be in such a better place. I think mentally, I think physically, I think it's all, we talked about it all offseason. I think all of it is connected. I think when he is feeling good, when he's feeling connected with his teammates, when he feels like he's part of something that is working and that he's being listened to, everything just kind of flows. And I thought one of the best parts of tonight was he scored 29 points, and it did not feel like they had to force feed him. That was a game where 6 different guys scored in double figures. I think Kelly got 20, Trendon got 20, Tyrese gets, was it 31? He gets 29. You get Grimes in double figures off the bench. The fact that they're able to include all these guys and include Joel and have him score that many points without it being the Joel show where the offense stops at the nail and it comes to a halt, like that is a good sign for him, a good sign of how things are running. Nurse made sure to spotlight after the game Trendon's ability to pass from the elbows and also just make post entries in general opened up some stuff tonight where Toronto had to play small without Jakob Poeltl. And so Joel was able to get some deep touches and deep catches on post entries that they just haven't made, and he hasn't really attempted to make so far this year. I think that's a great sign for his physical health. It's also a sign of the types of players that they have around him right now. So hopefully bigger and better things to come defensively, but offensively, very good night for him tonight.
Kyle Neubeck joined us on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line. Kyle, VJ Edgecombe didn't have a great game overall, but he really came through in the clutch with 3 baskets in the fourth quarter where they really needed them. And even had some timely defensive possessions and one key rebound, I thought, where he kind of snuck in there, stole one as he kind of ended up in the corner by the Raptors bench, but he took that rebound when the Sixers were still having trouble there. How do you evaluate what you saw from Edgecombe, especially down the stretch there where he helped them out?
Yeah, so the shooting regression has come. He's not shooting well right now, and he was 2 for 12 to start that game. I think the most important thing offensively is that when he was at 2 for 12, he was willing to take the next shots that came, right? And those were the most important possessions for him of the game. And they were running a lot of stuff through him and Joel initially in a way to get Tyrese Maxey the ball, where Nick said tonight after the game, can essentially play 4-on-4, right? If they're overplaying something, he gets the ball on that weak side, he's one pass away, and all of a sudden he can attack downhill or just a quick flare screen, quick handoff, and then all of a sudden Maxey can get to the mid-range, Maxey can get to the rim. And so they really liked what they were seeing there tonight. So I thought the VJ late offensive stuff was important. I think the last 2 games, and tonight particularly, he has made some strides defensively. I think the fact that he was able to hold up on an island against some of these bigger assignments, right, where Toronto's throwing a lot of guys who are 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", size mismatches, and he had a foul or two in those possessions, but by and large was doing well, fighting over screens, tracking his man in traffic, defending post possessions without fouling. So I think there's progress being made there. And when he can put all this together, that's great. I think one thing I'm keeping an eye on, I need him to be more involved and more of the captain of those non-Maxey minutes on the perimeter, because I think what happened tonight, especially in the first half, is it was a lot of Grimes, even like a point Kelly Oubre possession that Colin Murray-Boyles just absolutely blew up at the point of attack. I need to see VJ Edgecombe running the offense, running point, and I'll live with the results. There are going to be some ups and downs, but I think that's a change that they can make that can hopefully pay dividends.
Kyle, 2 final ones for me. First one's a quick one because you just mentioned him. Were you whooping it up on press row? CMB, that kid is a defender.
Dude. Listen, I kept saying to Derek, every single play he made, I just grew more powerful by the moment. So that was kind of everything that I and we talked about when we went through his tape during the draft process. I think Toronto got a winning player there. So I was really, that block he had on Maxey on what would have been awesome. Watford's 10th assist at the time, crazy play. And then the stuff he did at the point of attack was awesome too.
Yeah, it was funny. We were talking back here, and I was like to Devon, I was screaming at VJ, go get the basketball. Kelly, you can't bring the ball up against Colin Murray-Boyles. What are you, crazy? And yeah, that block, I mean, that was an amazing drawn-up play by the Sixers, executed absolutely perfectly, and he says, no. Okay, and the other thing, Kyle, that Devon and I were talking about a little bit, feels like Andre Drummond should be the backup center?
Yes. Number one, because Adem is not playing well. And number two, I think Andre in that role does what they need from that spot. They have had a lot of defensive rebounding issues. Even when Andre is not getting the rebound himself, he commands so much attention. He's such a big body down there that he's going to draw the biggest, if not the 2 biggest guys on the opposing team. That frees up VJ, Tyrese, Quentin, Kelly, Jabari, Trendon, whoever it might be, to go in there and then they kickstart the break. I think, frankly, he's had some good rim protection moments this year, too. Certainly more than we saw at this time last year. If you're just talking about trying to win games right now, I think Andre is the option. I think the battle that Nick Nurse is fighting, and he's talked about this, is obviously Adem is a young developmental player who's got to get minutes, and they believe in him in a lot of ways, but I think right now Andre's outplaying him. I would not be surprised if he starts to play more minutes moving forward, but certainly something to watch for sure.
It's going to be an interesting tomorrow against Jalen Duren and see how Dembona is up to that challenge if he gets that start tomorrow night. Kyle, thanks so much, man. As always, appreciate you stepping in here late. I know it's been a long night, long day for you. As Rich said, happy birthday. Enjoy the rest of your birthday while you can. And we'll catch up with you tomorrow right here as the Sixers take on the Pistons on the second night of a back-to-back. Thanks, man. Happy birthday.
Thank you, fellas. And let me just say, you guys got to get down here for one of these throwback games because as people who lived through the early 2000s, it's a big old nostalgia bomb for all of us. So all us old people out there are thriving.
We were even thrilled when we heard the 40 bars played in the background after one of those.
Oh, yeah, baby. David Stern is rolling
exactly.
over.
We brought up. Thanks, man. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks,
see you guys.
Appreciate it. Yeah, man. I mean, we need to get down there at some point because that is cool.
I mean, too bad we have to be here, to do most of the home games. I guess we go for the first half.
Look who's on there. Look who's on there.
Oh yeah. Why don't Xfinity hook us up? Let us do a live broadcast from the arena.
The Xfinity Mobile Arena.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I would love that. Yeah.
Kyle Neubeck joins us on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line.
Appreciate that. Smart.
Gotta make sure me, you, and Bree are in the house as Kyle just laid that out. 8 games, right? So yeah. 8 games.
We'll find one.
We'll figure it out. All right, man. That was fun. That was a good one. Triple-double for Trendon Watford, his first career triple-double, and the Sixers win. Tyrese Maxey with a no big deal. I dropped 31, and one of my closest friends had a career night. And oh, by the way, Joel Embiid is happy with the role that he's playing on this basketball team. And they still have reinforcements that need to be back in the mix, which is in the form of Jared McCain, who we expect to see tomorrow, we hope, and then Paul George and Dominic Barlow. So still a lot to learn about this basketball team, but as we continue to say, stack the wins, man. Stack the wins.
They're doing it, man. They're doing it.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's get to the world famous as we close thing out. Let's get to the roll call here on this Saturday night. We thank you for hanging out with us on a Saturday night. Man, I wish we could play 40 bars on the way out as the backdrop, as the instrumental on the back end, but we can't. Play it at home, everybody, while we do the roll call. Hit the like button, number 1. Make sure we get those numbers up while we're doing this. We got to say thank you to our buddy Jaden in there in the chat. What up, Jay? We got to get Jay back in here, hang out with us at some point. Gene Ross, Jay of the Jungle. Aaron, what up, Aaron? Good to see you. X-Man. What up, X? We see you, X. Hey, Mom.
Hey, Mom.
Music Lover 31, Val, Winona. Jeannie was in the pregame show. We haven't seen Jeannie a lot. Maybe just because of time and all, she couldn't do it. Hey, ladies, good to see Jeannie back in the chat as well. Who else do we have in here? We have Brian Knight, Al, the 2-minute warning, Hinky, Rich P. What up, Rich? Jay of the Jungle, Jay. What's going on, Jay? Tom Jackson, EJ Barrett with a ton of super chats and a new Die Hard subscription.
Shout out to EJ.
Thank you, EJ. We really appreciate it. Terrence Knights, Hedfa with the super chat. Thank you, Hedfa. As always, good to see Hedfa in there and being able to plant the flag. Trendon Watford.
Yep.
There you go. That's how you do it, Hedfa. Well deserved. Who else do we have in there? Bree, I got all of those. Theo, saw Theo in there. Vic, saw Vic in there. Larry K. Let me see as I roll back because I did not type everybody's name in there like I typically do. But I think we got a lot of the people that were in there tonight. Lost Sleep TV. We're going to lose some sleep tonight watching television when we get home because it's always difficult to go to sleep after this. Axe in the chat. What up, Axe? See you in there. Not confused for X-Man, but Axe. Good to see you in there. Riaz with the super chat and so many others that we saw. Stephen Paul as well. We thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us on the late night, especially following a Sixers win. We'll be back tomorrow, another 7:30 tip time for the Sixers. So we'll be back at 7 o'clock for the pregame show. Racing, see Ray in there as well. We'll be back for the pregame, 7 o'clock. Can they do it back-to-back? Can they win? They lost 2 back-to-back. Can they win back-to-back here with the tough Pistons team coming in town?
Don't have the rest advantage tomorrow.
That is not going to be an easy game, which used to be an easy game against Detroit. No longer, because that Detroit team is pretty good. By the way, they are 7-2, and they sit atop the Eastern Conference now with the best record in the Eastern Conference, having won 5 in a row. The Detroit Pistons, led by Cade Cunningham, who is amazing, playing some amazing basketball right now. So should be an interesting game tomorrow. They are 3-1 on the road, and we'll see what they can do against the 76ers once they come into town tomorrow night. Very well coached by Bickerstaff, and we'll see what the deal is with them. Rich, this was fun.
This was fun, man.
Got a W, and it was a good time. So we'll be back tomorrow. Everybody, make sure you hit the like button on the way out. And subscribe. Tell a friend and tell another friend and tell another friend. No birds tomorrow. So while you do focus on football, the attention at 7 o'clock, is here with the PHLY Sixers pregame show and us in general for the postgame as well. Forget about Sunday Night Football. You want to hang out with us, you can track that on your app and seeing what's going on. So thank you, everybody.
We hit 100.
Hit that like and subscribe. And when you do, the bell icon as well. It'll sound like that, to let you know that it is, in fact, showtime tomorrow at 7 o'clock. For Rich, Kyle, Derek, and myself, Bree, great job as always, Bree. Thank you so much. We'll all be back tomorrow for the pregame show. Sixers, Pistons. Sixers 1 game back of the Pistons for that number 1 overall spot. So big game. No Embiid.
No Embiid.
We'll talk about it tomorrow right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Good night.
We all silly like the mayor.